The darkest shadows are often cast by those who are closest to us. Daniel stood frozen in the doorway, his heart hammering in his chest as the reality of what he had seen unfolded before his eyes. His own brother, Marcus, had been lying to him, betraying him, and worse, he had been betraying the woman Daniel had vowed to protect. He had trusted Marcus with everything: his life, his dreams, his family, and now that trust lay in tatters. The footage played on loop in his mind, as though the images had seared themselves into his soul. He watched, helpless, as his wife and brother shared an intimacy that Daniel couldn't even begin to comprehend. How had he missed it? For weeks, he had seen Marcus's presence around their home as a sign of friendship, a bond between brothers. But now it felt like a dark, twisted game one in which he had been the pawn all along. Sophia had never once told him the truth. Never once confessed the growing distance between them. The late nights, the whispered conversations, the lies. It all hit him like a freight train. That night, Daniel didn't sleep. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, his mind racing with thoughts of revenge, regret, and loss. He had given so much of himself to Sophia, and Marcus trusted them blindly. But now, the trust had been shattered, and nothing would ever be the same again. The next morning, Daniel couldn't look at Sophia the same way. Her soft eyes, her gentle smile, they all seemed like a lie now. Every word she spoke was coated in suspicion. His love for her had turned to ice, and he couldn't bring himself to face her. Sophia noticed the change in him, the coldness in his demeanor. Her attempts to reach out to him only made him withdraw further, and as the days passed, their house felt less like a home and more like a battleground. Finally, Daniel couldn't take it anymore. He had to confront her. "Tell me the truth, Sophia," Daniel said one evening, his voice low and dangerous. "Tell me what's been going on. Why, Sophia? Why?" My brother? Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't speak. For the first time, Daniel could see her fear, her guilt. The facade she had built over the years was crumbling before his eyes, and the weight of her silence was suffocating him. "You were never enough for me, Daniel," she whispered, the words slicing through him. Marcus was always the one I wanted. You were just a placeholder." Daniel's chest tightened as her words echoed in his mind. He had spent his life fighting for her, trying to give her everything he thought she wanted, everything he thought she needed. But now the truth was clear. His love had never been enough. The confrontation with Sophia was the beginning of the end. The betrayal ran so deep that there was no going back. Marcus, ever the opportunist, had been biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And he had Daniel confronted his brother that same evening, his fists clenched in fury. "You're nothing but a liar, Marcus, a snake." Marcus, however, seemed unfazed. He leaned back in his chair, a smirk playing on his lips. "I never asked for your approval, Daniel. You were always in my way." Sophia was mine long before you ever stepped into the picture. It was in that moment that Daniel realized the full extent of the betrayal. Not only had Marcus stolen his wife, but he had been plotting this from the very beginning. Every smile, every gesture, every word he had exchanged with Daniel was just a mask for his true intentions. With a voice thick with venom, Daniel spoke again. "You've ruined everything. My marriage, my family. You've taken it all from me." Marcus didn't respond. Instead, he stood up, as though Daniel's pain meant nothing. "Maybe you should have fought harder, Daniel. Maybe you should have seen the signs." Daniel, broken and devastated, left his brother standing there, his heart heavy with the weight of loss. Weeks passed, and Daniel withdrew from everyone, cutting ties with both Marcus and Sophia. He focused on rebuilding his life, trying to pick up the pieces of his broken heart, but the emptiness never went away. No amount of work, no amount of money could fill the gaping hole in his soul. But in the solitude of his pain, Daniel began to realize something important. He had spent his whole life chasing love, chasing approval, and chasing success. But in the process, he had forgotten the most important thing himself. He didn't need Sophia. He didn't need Marcus. He didn't need Marcus. He needed to find peace within himself. He needed to heal, and so he did. Slowly but surely, Daniel began to rebuild his life not with riches or revenge, but with self love and acceptance. If you've been moved by Daniel's journey, make sure to subscribe to mrJambo and share your thoughts in the comments. The road to healing may be long, but with support and love, anything is possible. Stay tuned for more stories like this, and remember, the true strength lies in how we rise after the fall.